Hello students, I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to your first lecture, that is the orientation for SBL for June 2026. Yes, perfect. Okay, I hope you're able to hear me out. Great. All right, now before we get started into understanding the subject, right, let's us just understand what SBL is all about. In this particular session of orientation, you're going to understand what the exam is all about, because that is very, very important. See, when you're writing an exam, it's very important that you learn everything about what is expected out of the examiner, what is the examiner exactly expecting from you. And lots of students find it difficult. They just jump into the chapters and then towards the end, they don't know exactly what kind of questions are going to come. So my suggestion today is for you to understand the syllabus, to understand how SBL exam comes in the paper, right? To understand the do's and don'ts, because this paper is one such paper which is so different from other professional level papers. The reason being, A, it is a compulsory paper, right? Strategic Business Leader is a compulsory paper. Secondly, there is a pre-seen document, that is a case that gets released 2 weeks before exam. On the basis of this case only, they're going to ask you questions. Okay, and a lot of students have a lot of confusion about what that case is going to be. If we study the case, is it enough? Should we study the whole material, etc., etc., etc.? Okay, there are some hidden marks available for something called technical articles. So we'll be discussing so many things like that right now, so that all your myths are clarified. Clear? Yes. Now, firstly, what is the name of the subject we have? It's called Strategic Business Leader. All right. Just like how every exam has a background. For example, when you study SBR, you are expected to study FR and FA. That is where your SBR becomes easy, right? If you are writing an AFM paper, then you should have studied FM in your skill level, right? Same way, if you are choosing APM as a subject, then you should in your skill level studied PM, and then in your foundation, that is in your knowledge level, you should have studied something called MA, right? Management Accounting. But SBL is the only paper which doesn't have a background as such. All right. SBL is one such paper which is pure theory paper, meaning you're supposed to write all the things practically, but you're going to write it in English. That is how it becomes a theory paper. Ideally, it is a paper that can be cracked with 50% of common sense. Other 50% you need technical knowledge, but the rest of 50% can be easily managed with your common sense, because the questions that are coming these days for the strategic business leader are not something that are easily predictable. Secondly, they challenge you in the exam hall. Thirdly, they check your presence of mind. So here, no, your common sense is more important. That is the role it will play. You have to be having that presence of mind to be able to know what exactly to write in that particular answer. There is no strict format you need to follow, right? They have given us so much liberty in this paper that we can write entire paper in our own words and we can still score an 80. Right? When I say own words, doesn't mean any words that are supposed to impress the examiner. Own words could be as simple as explaining your point of view to the examiner in simple English. Right? You don't need to do a PhD in English to be able to write this paper. All right. So, Strategic Business Leader is one such paper, I would say. SBL has its relevance in the skill level. There is no paper that relates to strategic business leader. See, just like how you have SBR, okay, in your P level, then skill level, and this is knowledge level, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3. This is how we can call it, okay? Now, please understand, SBR, you should have had FR knowledge in your skill level, and you should have had FA knowledge in your knowledge level. Same like I told you, for AFM, you should have had FM knowledge. It's okay for you to not have any knowledge in the knowledge level. Then for APM, you should have known something called PM in the skill level, right? And you should have known something called management accounting in your knowledge level. For some subject like AAA, you should have a knowledge of AA in skill level. right? Same way. For ATX, you should have had UK tax knowledge in skill level, nothing to have in your knowledge level. See, try and understand. Then ma'am, for SBL, how does it work? Right? How does it work for SBL? Now, this is something you should understand, okay? SBL doesn't expect you to have background knowledge at skill level. However, there is a paper called Business and Technology. Okay, we also call it BT, Business and Technology. This is there in your knowledge level. This is there in your knowledge level, and some background of BT you should have had if you're writing SBL paper. Now, ma'am, I never studied business and technology. My friends told me that you should have BT knowledge to be able to crack SBL paper. Is that completely true? Ideally, if you have not studied your business and technology, do not worry. In our class, you will have even those chapters covered. Okay, I will tell you what is most relevant for your business and technology, which you should have known as an SBL student, and you will have to do a little bit of background work on that area. All right. So you don't have to worry if you've not written a knowledge level paper and you feel stuck in strategic business leader. You'll never get stuck, because strategic business leader is literally a theory subject of Shark Tank India, which you watch on the TV, right? It's about being a business leader, how an entrepreneur thinks. Right? If you're put in a certain situation, what decisions you will make. So strategic business leader looks like a theory paper. For sure, it looks like a theory paper. You write it in obviously English format, right? But it is a practical paper. Okay, how is it practical, ma'am? We learn and explore together, and I'll be able to convince you then that it is actually a practical paper. It just looks like a theory paper. Clear? Chalo, we've understood a lot about what this subject is, where the background of SBL comes from, right? And now, and for students who are probably who have pursued CA, right? This is for those students who have pursued CA. In your CA, in your inter level, there used to be a subject called ITSM. Are you able to recall? You could have asked your seniors. They would tell you that there used to be a subject called ITSM, right? Now, that's nothing but your information technology and strategic management. Remember the SM part, right? Later it became a different name, but there used to be something called SM. Inside SM, it is called strategic management. That SM which you've studied in inter level, right, in CA exams, is nothing but your SBL over here in P level, but except with much more, I would say, complications. SM is like basic. So if you have not studied BT in ACCA, but you are a student of CA and you've studied your skill level, as in you've studied your CA inter. In CA inter, you've studied something like SM, or you've written a paper of SM, or even if you've not appeared for the paper, but you know what's there inside. That is nothing but your SBL. All right. Yes, but the SM paper used to be a little, had only 5 or 6 chapters. Here we have much more than that. We have almost 25 chapters to cover. Okay. But it's not going to be difficult at all. There is a very simple way to cover SBL, and that's why I'm here. We will discuss, we will learn together, we'll team up, and we'll have classes. All right. Now, let's talk more about SBL. Before we get into the subject of SBL, I want you to understand that some history here regarding your examination. In September 2023, right, there was a major change that happened in the SBL paper. Before, the paper used to be for 4 hours. Okay, the paper used to be for 4 hours. Now, the paper has come down to 3 hours 15 minutes. It means before, students would get 4 hours to write a 100-mark paper. Now, for the same 100-mark paper, you only have time of 3 hours 15 minutes. All right, we'll discuss more, ma'am. Why did that happen? Why is this change? It's partiality. It's not partiality. I'll tell you why. Okay, there's a logical reason why they brought down the duration of the examination, which we'll discuss in this particular class. If there are any doubts, feel free to drop it on the chat box. I will read it and I'll help you out. All right, I'll keep looking at the chat box. If there is anything you need, let me know and I will help you out. Okay, don't worry, you're in safe hands. Now, let's learn a little bit about the changes, shall we? Like I told you, the duration of the exam. Before, the exam used to be for 4 hours. Now it has shifted to 3 hours 15 minutes. For those students who are very new to ACCA itself, please understand there is nothing called handwritten paper, okay? In ACCA, we have to write everything in computer. So you have to be very good with typing. You have to be very good with writing quickly. Okay, your typing speed has to be good. Here and there, a little bit of Excel knowledge you're expected to have, and basic Excel knowledge, not your advanced formulas, just very basic Excel knowledge you need to have. All right. I'll be talking about the format of the exam and pre-seen in the coming slides. First, let's understand the duration of the SBL paper. Please understand, SBL is a 3 hours 15 minutes integrated case study exam. Again, it's a closed book exam is something I want you to know, meaning you can't take your books inside. All right. So now another question will come, ma'am. You told that before 2 weeks of the paper, before 2 weeks of exam, that is of SBL exam, there is a document that will release. There is a case study that is going to be pre-seen case. There's a case that will release. Can't we take the document of those cases, or can we take a printout of that case and go inside the exam hall? Right? Because on the basis of this case, only 100-mark questions will be asked. Basically, your entire 100-mark paper will revolve around this particular case that will be released 2 weeks before your exam. This case is called pre-seen document. Okay, or we can call it pre-seen information. We call it pre-seen. Why? Because before you go to the exam hall only, you have the case in your hand. So something that you can see before your exam, that is pre-seen. Right? It's a pre-seen document which is available to you exactly 2 weeks before your exam. Okay, where will I find it? I'll answer everything. Wait. Okay. Now this document is very important document because your entire 100-mark questions will come around this document. The case will be from this particular document only. All right. Now, before, this kind of document wouldn't be released. That's why the exam was for 4 hours, because this document which you are seeing right now would be actually given in the exam hall directly. That is why student got that 45 minutes extra to sit and read it. All right, and make sense out of it. But thankfully, what they have done now is they give you this same document 2 weeks in advance. So it's only fair that they cut off 45 minutes from your exam time, because you have literally 2 weeks to master that document. All right. Another myth which students have is that if I learn that document properly and go, I'll be able to pass the exam. No, there is no such relationship. Lots of students have spoiled their papers by even thinking like that. That is not how it works. You just need to understand the document carefully, for which I am here to guide you, and I'll tell you exactly the do's and don'ts. I'll be sitting with you and I'll crack the whole document for you. We will do it as a classroom session where we meet, we discuss all this, and it's going to help you more. All right, so don't worry on that. Now, please understand that this pre-seen will be released exactly 2 weeks before your exam. So say your exam is in the month of June, say June 1st week, say June 2nd is your paper, or June 3rd is your paper. Exactly, so you can just do the reverse counting over here. 2 weeks before. That's around May 20th, right? Before 2 weeks. So around May 20th, you can expect the document to release, somewhere around that time. Okay, once the document comes out, you can read it on your own. However, I'll be giving you a pre-seen session where I will be discussing what exactly you need to do. Okay, or what are the things you have to take and go. You know, these are the content that you'll have to carry and go in the exam, and you have to understand it. Thankfully, please make yourself very clear here that a very good instruction is given that you cannot take that paper inside the exam hall. The soft copy of the same case will be available on your portal when you're writing your examination. So you can copy paste directly from there. Please understand, it is not an open book exam. I hope I made it very clear. Secondly, you cannot take a printout and go of this pre-seen which is released. Okay, hard copy is not allowed. Soft copy will be made available in the portal in your examination. Right? Perfect. Okay. What exactly is this pre-seen, ma'am? The pre-seen information provides students with the background information on the case study of the organization and industry in which it operates. So in your pre-seen document, there are two informations that will be available. I'll cover more of it, relax. Okay. For now, I'm just giving you an intro. Later in the second half of this entire session, you will know more about the pre-seen. Don't worry. Okay. What I want you to understand here is, firstly, the pre-seen document that is there. it will be divided into two parts. One is industry information, second is organization information. Say a case comes on we can say Indigo Airlines. Okay. Firstly, real cases won't come in your paper. Fictitious cases will come. There will be no real country that exists. They'll not ask you anything about Iran, or they'll not ask you anything about Asia or UK or US, India, China, right? They're not going to ask you all these things. Even the city they will write will be a fictitious city, fictitious country, fictitious continent. Okay, so it doesn't exist in real life. However, just to make you understand what you can expect inside the pre-scene, say they are coming up with a case. Say it is about Indigo Airlines. Okay, in reality, the airlines would be something different. Say Corjet's airline. Is a Corjet's airline exists? No, it doesn't exist, right? So, but tell me, ask yourself, this Indigo Airlines or Corjet's Airlines, which is a case, which industry does it belong to? It belongs to airline industry, right? That is why you'll get two sets of information. One set will be the industry information, basically airline industry, how airline industry exactly operates. Inside that, then there's a case that will come. Okay, that is going to be Corjets, for example, basically a fictitious airline company. On the basis of that case, you'll have questions asked. But for you to be able to write what is there inside that confidently, you should know about the industry also, no? That is why they'll educate you on the industry as well. Before, what used to happen was students were not given this information, and suddenly they would go to the exam hall and they receive this information and they don't know how to process it. Right? So their exams used to be very challenging. Like the true potential of the student would not come out. I mean, now what has happened? Now what has happened is it's become a little easier on students now, because you get 2 weeks time to digest this industry, digest the information of the case, learn about the words, terminologies, and be very well equipped and prepared to enter the exam. Right? So what are the two information that will be given inside the pre-scene? First is the industry information, basically in which industry your organization is operating. And second is the organization itself, right? What exactly the organization is all about. So it'll be a 10-page document. You can say at an average, it's going to be a 10-page to 12-page document. The aim of the pre-scene is to provide students with more time to become familiar with the business activities of the case study organization and its industry. So please understand over here, they're giving you 2 weeks, so 2 weeks time, so that you become good at what you write in the paper. See, they want to test your understanding with respect to the business aspects. They don't want to know whether you know everything about airline industry, you know about shoe industry, do you know everything about travel industry, you know everything about food industry. That is not what they want to check. What they want to check is your capability as a business leader. That is the reason they're equipping you with all possible scenarios, all possible things you need to know, learn about the industry, so that you can make a capable business decision in the exam hall. All right, clear? Now, let's understand the next part here. Please understand, ma'am, they will give us a case. This case document will be called a pre-scene document. Maybe it is a 12-page document. Please understand, it's going to be 12 to maximum 15 pages document, not more than that. It's going to be this much. On the basis of this document, they will give you tasks inside the exam hall. How many tasks are going to be there? There are going to be 3 tasks. Task 1, task 2, task 3. 3 tasks put together will give you 100 marks. You're going to get 100 marks paper on the basis of this 12 pages which has been provided. But when they give you tasks, they will give you extra information as well. Say they're giving you task number 1. It will be accompanied with a proper question and with some extra documental information. Task 2 also will not be directly from this 12-page document. They will provide you extra information in the exam. On the basis of that information, they will ask you task number 2. You have to blend in that extra information with this document and then answer your paper. Have I made it clear? Same goes for task 3. Right? You will be given extra information. What is this extra information that will be given to you in the paper? Extra information will be given to you in the paper. What does this mean? This extra information is nothing but it is called, maybe they'll give you a balance sheet, maybe they will give you a spreadsheet. They're extra, right? Then they will give you some table, they'll give you some memo, right? They will add some extra email inside. So what will happen is, whatever extra information that will be given to you, right? This extra information in SBL, we call it exhibit. When I show you question papers, you will know better. For now, I want you to know the words properly, please. Okay? I'm training you with the words right now. Later, when you do question papers with me, you will know what I'm trying to say. Now, this extra information that has been given to you will be in the form of exhibit. We call it exhibits. You will blend in this extra information with this pre-seen document and then answer your question. Okay, so you'll blend this and you'll answer your question. So obviously you will have 12 pages document before you enter the exam hall. Plus you'll get some additional tasks there. There's be 3 tasks. Each task will be accompanied with some extra information. So you will use that extra information, you will blend it with the pre-seen and then answer your task number 1. Same way, task 2 also will have exhibits. So you will have to take the exhibits over there, blend it with the pre-seen information, then answer task 2. Same with the task 3. Now ma'am, how is allocation of 100 marks done between task 1, 2 and 3? We cannot say. Sometimes it is 40, 30, 30. Okay. It could be some odd number also. Right? It can be 30, 30, 40, 35, 35 and balancing figure. Basically, they will try to average it out at 30, 35 range for all the 3 questions. Yes? Clear? See, understand over here. This is all you need to understand right now. Okay. See, I know that you might be feeling a little overwhelmed when you're listening to so many things. You feel like, oh my God, the exam only looks so complicated. God knows how the paper is going to be. It's a very natural thought if you're getting this. Don't worry. We got you covered. Okay. So relax. Okay. Brace yourself. Now, it's always good to be prepared before you enter the war zone. I'm just preparing you with that, so that when you actually start studying, you know exactly what kind of doubts to ask me. Clear? Now, I just want you to understand the part which I've discussed here. I want you to simply read it. Okay, simply just read this part of the document. If there are any doubts, feel free to put it on the chat box. I'm meanwhile reading the chats as well. Let me know if there are any doubts. Okay, looks like there are no doubts. Let's go back to the PPT slide. Next, I wanted to understand is the format, okay? Format of the paper. Now, please understand. If it's a 100-mark paper, it is divided into 2 areas. 80 marks and balance of 20 marks. Please understand, 80 marks are nothing but your technical marks. 80 marks is nothing but your technical marks. Inside this, you will have technical questions that will be given. Okay, so your paper will actually have 80 marks question only, worth it. 80 marks worth of question will be asked. Balancing 20 marks are tested for professional skills. Someone who has written already a P-level paper, you will know what this means. Someone who has not written, please understand. The paper is going to be for 80 marks. You get extra marks for good handwriting. This is how you need to look at professional skills. The questions will be asked for 80 marks only. Let's understand it again. The questions will be asked for 80 marks only. How well you write your answers, no? For that you will get extra 20 marks. Okay, so I call it extra marks for good handwriting. Okay, So they will test you. Say if a question is for 16 marks, okay? Say you're supposed to draft some email, you're supposed to come up with some kind of briefing notes, or you're supposed to give a business decision as to whether they should go for the project or no. You'll be questioned for 16 marks only. You will write the content worth 16 marks itself. But how well you present it, no, you might get extra 4 marks for that. Okay? So you have to work hard for 16 marks. Post that, they will also give you extra score out of 4 marks to give you an idea as to how well you have professionally shown your paper. Okay, how you have presented your paper, you'll get 4 extra marks for that. Alright? This is how it's going to work. Let's read one by one. The exam is an integrated case study with 3 compulsory tasks. The tasks are varying of total marks, but there are 100 marks available overall. So you have 80 technical marks and then you have 20 professional skills marks. Alright, this is how it's going to work. Now, please understand over here, the exam here will again have 3 compulsory tasks. I already told you. With each task having a varying number of parts and total marks. Okay, so actually your entire paper is for 100 marks. They will question you 80 marks for technical questions. Plus you will get 20 additional marks to how beautifully you write your paper. So the tasks that are going to come, task 1, task 2 and task 3. In all of this task, they will give you technical marks also. They'll give you technical marks. Plus they'll give you professional skills marks. So 2 areas will be questioned. Okay. Say this is total put for 40 marks. Then this will be for 30 marks. This is for 30 marks. Clear? See, understand. It is very, very natural. And when I show you a question paper, ideally you will know what I'm trying to say. Right now, you're still trying to make peace with the fact that, oh, this looks so complicated. It is not. It's very easy. Okay? Now, how do we understand it? How exactly are they going to ask this 20 marks and how exactly are they going to question this 80 marks? Let's understand a little bit more. Okay? Before we get there, before I tell you what professional skills are and what is technical skills and etc., I want you to understand one more thing, that there has been a change in the way we used to write our SBL paper as well. All right. We used to write our SBL paper. No, there's been a small change there as well. Before, the SBL exam used to be a one-word document. Meaning, inside one word file itself, you had to write task 1, task 2 and task 3. Now it is not like that. Task 1 should be answered in a separate Word document. Task 2 will be answered in a separate Word document. Task 3 will be answered in a separate Word document. The format itself is developed in that way. When we solve question papers, I will teach you how the format looks like, how you're supposed to write your answers, so don't worry. This is for those students who have never written any paper in the computer software. Okay, if you have only written, some students will be also from CA background, you're so used to going to the exam hall and writing a handwritten paper. So you might not be very well versed with clicking the right buttons in the exam, right? So there could be few times your, even the software can get stuck if you're clicking too fast. So I'll give you a lot of practice when it comes to question papers as well. You will know exactly how the software looks like. We'll be practicing on the software itself, the questions, so that you become really good at it and you will not be shocked in the exam. You would have digested each and everything carefully. All right, so don't worry. But what I want you to understand is, back then when seniors used to write their ACCA papers, they used to write everything in one Word document itself. What we have is, we have it a little better, we have a little better way of writing it now. So task 1 in a separate Word file, task 2 in a separate Word file, task 3 in a separate Word file. The document or the entire software is only made in such a way that you can't write 2 tasks in one single document, not possible. To appear to task 2, one fresh Word document only will be displayed to you there. So it's not rocket science. This is for people who wrote their exams in 2023, left ACCA, again joined ACCA, and now they're writing the SBL paper again. This change is for those people, okay, who don't know much about what new changes have happened in the SBL papers, to educate them. The SBL exam here, see, what are they saying? The SBL exam over here will no longer be a single requirement in one Word document. Each task will be completed as a separate requirement, as a separate response option. As a result, the one exam workspace, that entire exam workspace area will look slightly different than how it used to back then before September 2023. Okay, so you will not be able to view all the tasks together. You complete task number 1, then you click the next button, they'll be showing you task number 2. Then you click the next button, you'll be able to see task number 3. Before September 2023, all the tasks are appearing in the same page. Now it's not like that. Each task appear in the 3 different pages. This is clear? This is for students who wrote SBL paper back then, quit, and they've come back to write it. For students who are very new to this format doesn't even make a difference in your life, because you'll practice only in the new format, so you don't have to worry how your old format used to be. Clear? Now, here, you have to understand few more things, okay? In the exam, students should see the time to read and comprehend additional information in the exhibits that is provided. So you will already get the pre-scene document. Where should you invest your time? Not on the pre-scene. Pre-scene we would have cracked before you enter the exam hall itself. What you need to do is, whenever the tasks are given, there are some extra information I told you, additional information that will be provided, that is in the form of exhibit. You need to read those exhibits carefully. The best approach is to read the exhibits with tasks in mind, which I will teach you. Identify and extract the information from the exhibit. I told you, take all the information which has been given inside the exam hall, blend it with the pre-scene information that has been given, and then answer your paper. That is exactly what they are trying to say. Plan and write answers that fully consider the integrated technical and professional skill requirement. This also I'm going to teach you. Okay, what is professional skill, how to achieve marks in professional skills, what is technical skills, etc. See, that is my job to teach you. You don't have to worry. For now, you don't have to worry at all. Okay, but I want you to know what technical skills are. Okay, firstly, technical skills. The exam marking scheme will comprise of 80 marks of technical skills for correct use and application of SBL knowledge. The task will be used to test students' knowledge and their ability to demonstrate this appropriately in the context of the case study. I'll be teaching you I'll be teaching you all the chapters. Inside all the chapters, there are very, very important models that are there. You'd have heard of SWOT analysis. You should have also heard of PESTEL. Not even as an ACCA student, just like that in your BCom or BBA, you would have heard your teacher teaching you all this. So these models which you are going to learn, like this, there are around 40 models in SBL. Around 40 models are there. 35 you can say safely, 35 to 40 models in SBL. These models are nothing but your technical skills. This is nothing but your technical knowledge which you are expected to have. Have I made it clear? This is nothing but your technical knowledge. Alright. For this, the weightage is around 80 marks. That is what they are trying to say. Ma'am, how many models are there? I will teach you. My job. And I've simplified the document to you in such a way that even if you stick to the PPTs, you should be in a position to easily understand the models. Where you should put your effort is in solving more questions. Don't put your effort into learning more content. Content will be made available by me. Where you should work hard is in solving more questions. Why? Because to each student on its own, struggles are different. Maybe you're really good with theories. You can write a sentence very beautifully, but other student is struggling with that. So that other student will have to compensate it with hard work. Alright. When it comes to sharing conceptual knowledge, you don't worry, it's on me. I will teach you all the models perfectly. You will not have to worry there. But you need to present your answers in such a way. Plus the questions that will come inside the exam hall also, you should have more clarity as to what sentences you're going to fill in to impress the examiner to get that score. Right? That is where your hard work has to go. Alright? The technical skills that are assessed in the SBL are more practical and analytical rather than technical or academic. So the best part is, since September 2023, students used to simply by heart 40 models. Whichever model they feel is appropriate in the answer, they used to copy, paste and come. That's where September 2023 happened. ACCA came with a twist. ACCA told very strictly that now we are not interested to know if you know to by heart the models and apply them, because Indian students are too good with that. Indian students, right? We are very good with by hearting, right? And I'm not even stereotyping. It's a fact. That's how our education works, right? By heart everything, vomit it in the paper. That's where ACCA doesn't like it. So ACCA came up with the twist in September 2023, and they told students that anymore we are done with you by hearting models and applying it. In fact, now we don't even care whether you're applying a model or you're not applying a model in your answer. Whether you're using pestle SWOT to answer the paper or you're not even using pestle SWOT and you're simply writing in your common sense or in your general English. We don't even care that. We'll give you full marks as long as your answers are practical. Because now we are shifting our focus than looking at your by-hearting skills. We are not interested to know how good you are in by-hearting your answers. We rather want to know how good you are in analysis. Okay, we want the papers are going to be much more practical. Don't expect anything to come from the book. That's the twist. That's why I'm telling you. Learn concepts from me. Do as many questions you can from me. But at the end of the day, it's your own brain that has to operate in the exam hall. And please understand, every SBL student's answer is going to be different. It is supposed to be different because they are testing your practical and analytical skills. They are not testing how good the student is in by-hearting model. You're not going to get marks for that. It's how well you apply your senses, how well you apply your technical knowledge into answering that entire question to give a solution to the examiner. Nobody is interested to know your answers. They want solutions in the paper. And they're looking at how practical you are in your analysis. That is why I've been repeatedly telling you it's not a theory paper, it's a practical paper. Start watching Shark Tank from today. It be American Shark Tank or Indian Shark Tank, whatever works for you. Start watching it. See how they look at business. Okay. Your half answers will be ready. Every day during lunchtime, keep half an hour. If you're interested to, for people who like watching entertainment when they're having food, okay? Generally, you should not, but still, say you're choosing entertainment, choose to watch something like Shark Tank because it will, oil your brain to think in a very different way. I want to give you so many examples in the classroom as well with respect to that, those businesses which are there, because you'll be able to relate better to the SBL paper. The gone are the days where you can buy hard models, apply it and pass the paper. There are no such days available in ACCA anymore. If you remember in your CA exams, if you have been a CA student ever, for your strategic management SM paper, you would buy hard the model and simply apply it. And you would get marks. But here it's not like that. Now what they've told is, even if you write your entire paper with the 0 models, don't use pestle, don't use SWOT, don't use Ansoff metrics, don't use anything at all. You're simply writing that entire 100 marks with just common sense. We will still give you 100 out of 100 if that common sense is making sense to us. If your answers are convincing enough, you get the freedom to throw these models out, discard entire SBL subject and write in your own answers. Even if you're not using one textbook word, but your answers are extremely practical, you will clear the SBL paper. Then your next question is like, ma'am, why do we need you if we can write everything in common sense? Some structure, some background, you should have an idea about. Okay, at the end of the day, when you write your paper in your own words, you will not be able to write more than 50 to 60 marks. Some sentences should be learned and be made available in your brain, in your vocabulary, in your dictionary, and you should simply write that sentences there in the paper so that your quality of the paper increases. Quantity wise also, volume should be high in your answers. At the same time, it should be qualitative also. That is the reason you're sitting inside the classroom. Yeah, you can always say that we can write our own answers. Why do we need a teacher? But what are you going to write? And what you're writing is correct or not? Who's the right person to tell that? Right? That is why you're sitting here. Okay? That's exactly what they have written over here. Okay? They are telling very clearly, you have the freedom to answer your task the way you want. Nobody's stopping you, see. Very clearly they are telling you. Students in SBL, therefore, have now more freedom to answer the task with or without keeping model in mind. Whether you're using these models which I'm teaching you, whether you're simply writing your entire paper without using a single model, you will still get a rank. But in case you choose to write using the help of these models, you're writing the paper, please select the right kind of model. You select a wrong model, automatically your scores will come down. So selecting model can make your life easy or can make your life difficult. Yeah, easy in what sense? You have a format already, so you know what to write. But if you choose the wrong model in your answers, you will not be able to write any answers only properly. The examiner will simply get, disappointed reading your answers and will not be able to give you marks. So that is why they're telling you, using inappropriate model in a requirement may limit your answers. And that is why you might not give a relevant answer. So whenever you're choosing models, choose it safely, and I will teach you which model to apply where. So don't worry. Say so far, touch wood, there has never been a case where student has written a wrong model and come in the paper. At least my student has not done it. So if you're studying with me, you're studying these 40 models, I'll be also teaching you what keywords can be understood. If you see a keyword in the question paper, what model should be applied in that case. To that level, we'll be training you. But it's not always about by hearting this and writing. You have to apply your senses, you have to do more reading, you have to solve as many questions as you can to master this paper. Have I made it clear? Yes. Let's talk a little bit about professional skills, shall we? These professional skills are now going to be for 20 marks. Okay. Now please understand, ma'am, what exactly are these professional skills? Please understand. In SBL paper, there are 5 types of professional skills they test. Okay, professional skills are there, 5 types are there. Each professional skill is tested in every examination for 4 marks each. That makes it a total of 20 marks. Got it? 4 into 5. So there are 5 professional skills that will be tested for 4 marks each. So in addition to your technical skills of 80 marks, you'll be even questioned with professional skills. Okay, but what are these professional skills exactly? The 5 categories are there. Okay, there are 5 categories, 5 kinds of professional skills, and you should be good at all the professional skills. Now, what are they? The first one is communication skill. Say they ask you to write a letter. Okay, say they ask you to draft a letter to a CEO. Okay, draft a letter to CEO. Question is going to be for 16 marks. Okay, so you'll be drafting a letter for 16 marks. So what is the technical skill scores you're getting? 16 marks. Plus they will test your communication skills for 4 marks. So what is ideally the question total up for? 20 marks. 16 marks you will get about what is the content you write inside for technical skills, but how well your English looks or how well you have drafted that. Is there an introduction, body and conclusion inside that letter neatly done? Is there a from and a to? Is there a date properly made available? Is there a closing sentence here? Is there a call to action inside your email or in your letter? So they will see all that and they'll give you extra 4 marks over there. That is your communication skill. So they will test you one question with communication skills to test how good you communicate, how well you are at presenting your language. Second kind of professional skill that will come in your paper will be commercial acumen. Okay, let me read it for you. To demonstrate awareness of wider business and external factors affecting the business, using commercially sound judgment and insight to resolve issues and exploit opportunities. In commercial acumen, what they're going to test you, they will ask you a question, basically. Say they will tell you that the company is planning to go for this project. Tell us what are the factors we have to consider. So what you're going to do is you will simply look at the factors that are given inside the question paper, right? Inside that task, inside that exhibit, inside the pre-scene. Keeping all that in mind, you're going to answer. But there might be few external factors. Politically, there is some change that is happening in the case, or externally economical changes are happening. Some social changes are happening outside the society. All those external factors that are not given inside the questions, but these are all external factors that are indirectly going to affect the business. Have you made a note of that also in your answers? So when they judge your commercial acumen, they want you to look at the wider external factor that is there any opportunity out there which you are missing to include in your answer? Is there any threat outside that will affect your business? So if you are using those external factors to blend in your answer, that is where you'll be able to score marks for commercial acumen. Clear? The third skill they will test is your analysis skill. In analysis skill, they want to understand that what is your perspective about the question. They will give you a question and they will tell you, tell us exactly whether the business is looking competitive or no. Okay, tell us whether the business is looking competitive. Can it sustain in the competitive environment? Now, seeing that entire case, you should look within the box. In commercial acumen, you're looking at external factors that can affect the business. In analysis, you will look at internal factors. You will look within the answer. You will look within the box. All right. What do you see within the box? You're going to put your own understanding when you're writing the answers. Your own way of looking at this, your point of view is appreciated in analysis skills. Ma'am, it's too much for us to digest this much. Day one, this much is there. To understand question paper only, we are taking 2 hours or 1 hour. How will we write all this? I'm going to teach you questions from communication skill angle, commercial acumen angle, analysis angle, so you'll become good at it. No worry. We will do all that now. But see, when I'm teaching, you should know what I'm trying to address. That is why I'm asking you to study. Well, that's why this orientation session is all about. All right. Please read this first. Read this. Done? We understood 3 types of skills here: communication, commercial acumen, and analysis. The next 2 skills which we need to understand here: skepticism. I'm sure you know this word. What is skepticism? Having an attitude of questioning mindset. You will get a question where they will also test your skepticism skills. What does this mean? They will give you a question where you will have to challenge that situation. Okay, for example, manager thinks that the decision which he has taken is correct for the business. Okay, and they questioned you saying that we are asking you 4 marks of professional skills on skepticism skills. Basically, a question will be given to you that manager thinks so and so is the right thing to do for the business. Okay, you have to give your suggestion for this and draft an answer on this area. Also, they'll test you 4 marks of professional skepticism, or they will test your professional skepticism skills. Whenever the examiner says that we are testing your skepticism skills, they are telling you whatever that person is quoting. No, you have to say manager is saying let's go for project A, we don't want to go for project B. What did manager say? We'll go for project A, let's not go for project B. And the question is accompanied with skepticism skill check. Instead of closing your eyes and trusting the manager and saying yes, let's go for manager A, or let's go for project A, manager is giving a good suggestion, we will write opposite. We will challenge that why A, why not B, why can't we take a project B? You will probe, you will question, you will challenge the information that is given inside the question and come up with your own answer. That is called the quality of skepticism. You will look at everything objectively, meaning you'll be very unbiased when you're looking at that question. You'll be very unbiased when you're answering your paper. Just to impress the examiner that yes, the manager is correct, let's support him. No. They are going to look at how individually you have a point of view with respect to that answer. So if they are asking you any question accompanied with skepticism skills, it is going to be question for 4 marks extra. You'll get 4 marks extra for professional skills for skepticism. But what is your answer going to be? It's going to be in a reverse answer. If manager says project A, you might say no, project A is not good, project B is good. But not every time, not every time we will go for the opposite view. But we'll have the guts to challenge the information that is given in the paper. That guts is what you're getting 4 marks extra for. All right. So what they're telling you is whenever I check a skepticism skill accompanied in the question, don't close your eyes and trust us. Challenge that information, probe that, question it. Right. Don't take the information as it is given in the paper. Okay. And the last one is evaluation. Another professional skill tested for 4 marks. Here what we do is we carefully check the answer. If there is a question that will come, it will be coming for 14 marks, accompanied with 4 marks of evaluation skills, assume. We don't know how many marks, but 4 marks of evaluation is pakka. It's going to come. Now in evaluation, say a question is accompanied with evaluation skill. How are you going to answer that question? Right? You will list the pros and cons. What is evaluation? Checking the positives and negatives and then concluding. Correct? So that question that will be given to you will have some good part also, will have some bad part also. You will have to simply evaluate it and then pass your judgment. How well you do that, you will get 4 extra marks for that. Clear? Please read this. Yes. Understood? These are the 5 professional skills that would get tested in your paper. Yes. What are those 5 here? You have communication, commercial acumen, analysis, skepticism, and evaluation. Each of these skills will be tested for 4 marks. Simple. Okay then. Okay. Too much of information already. I know you're digesting it all. Do not worry. All this will be uploaded in the file or in the portal. You will find everything available. Don't worry on that. But I don't want you to sit for such a long hour and then digest everything at once. Let's take a short break of 10 minutes and then we'll continue the session. Okay. let's continue. All right. So before the break, we saw everything about professional skills. Now, very little bit is pending. So don't worry. We'll be done in the next 15-20 minutes. Nothing much for you to worry. I've pretty much covered up everything. Now we're just simply going to look into what are the other things we need to keep in mind. Okay. So when is this SBL going to release for your June 2026 exam? When is it exactly going to happen? The dates are never out. Okay. They don't exactly say. They have said very clearly exactly 2 weeks before your exam. That's what they say. So to assume the timelines, we can assume that the pre-scene information will be out on 20th of May. Okay. The pre-scene information will be out on 20th of May 2026 for your June 2026 paper. Alright. The main aim of the pre-scene is to help you familiarize with the business activity of the case study in which it operates before the exam. So don't worry. We will be conducting a pre-scene session where I will clearly be telling you what are the things you need to study and go in the exam. Okay, you will be studying. Firstly, I'll be training you with the technical marks. I'll be training you with professional skills. We'll do question paper practice. Mocks will be given. All of that will happen. 2 weeks before exam, I want zero panic from your end. There should be no panic at all. 2 weeks is a relaxed phase for us. Okay, the last 2 weeks, you can't open your books and study. You should be very well prepared. You should have written your mock before even the pre-scene comes out, so that I can guide you, give you marks, tell you exactly where you need to improve, where are the improvements that should be done in the coming 2 weeks when the exam's left. All right. So I want you to remember this very, very carefully. Please read this. Make a note of the date. I want you to make a note of date. It's around 20th of May. Okay. And you should be fully prepared. So our portion will get over before 20th of May. Okay. Once the pre-scene gets released, the coming Saturday, Sunday of that pre-scene, I'll be taking a pre-scene analysis, where we'll meet live and I'll be teaching you everything about the pre-scene. Okay. You can add your own analysis. It's going to be a two-way communication. All right. Yes, clear. Next, where do you access your pre-scene from? See, I don't want you to access it from WhatsApp or Telegram channel. I don't want things like this to happen. We are professionals. Let's work it right. Go to your exam planner. Okay, you would have booked your paper for SBL, right? In that, in your plan, under pre-scene information, you will find the pre-scene. Download it only from there. Now, the pre-scene is going to be same universally. That's one thing I wanted to tell. Whether you're writing an exam in the morning, afternoon or evening, pre-scene will still remain one only, same. Say, ma'am, because of, there's a lot of things going on right now in the world. It could be war, it could be tsunami, it could be earthquake, whatsoever it is, okay? Let me make it very, very clear. I know it's sounding very negative right now, but you should have full clarity about the exam. Say your exam gets postponed for some or the other reason, which is very likely to not happen. Okay, exam will be conducted on the same day. But there are times, in one or the other city, because of some or the other natural calamity, any other unexpected event, if your exam gets pushed to next week, in case that happens, then what do you need to do? Pre-scene will still remain the same for the next exam also. Please understand, pre-scene will still remain the same for the next exam. Right? This very recently happened in one of the countries, where because of the war, ACCA exam was pushed for the next 2 weeks. So that can happen because it's a global paper, right? So I don't want to mention the name of the country, city, whatsoever, keep that aside. But pre-scene will still remain same for that, like the postponed paper also. Pre-scene will be one only for 1 quarter for all students, whether they are writing any attempt, be it morning, afternoon, postponed attempt, anything. Preponing doesn't happen in ACCA. Till now, it's never happened. Postpone can happen given the situation that is happening in the globe right now. Okay, respectfully. Now, aim for introduction of pre-scene material. Why have they given you pre-scene here? Is it for you to guess what question will come in the paper? Is this why they've given you pre-scene? No, it is just to train you with the background information. Sometimes what happens is there are some industry specific terms that are used inside the question paper. And then you see that industry specific terms, you start getting scared. So those industry specific terms will be taught to you 2 weeks before exam itself in the pre-scene. So that when you see those words, you know how to, what does it mean, how to, give a point of view with respect to that particular word in the answer. It should not be like a shocker to you, See, every industry has its own jargon. Learning that jargon in exam hall is very scary. That's why 2 weeks before only they will teach you all the new jargons that are made that could be applicable in that particular industry. So that when you answer like a professional. Why? Because see, there are times where say a question has come on cloud computing. Basically, your industry is cloud computing industry, and the case that has come is like Google. Fake company will be given, Google won't be given. Say some other company, XYZ company, but it is just like Google. Okay, Google company giving cloud computing services. Now there are so many words like machine learning, AI, data analysis, all of that will be reflecting in the question paper. Somebody who comes from the job, somebody who's doing the job of data analysis, they'll find SBL paper very easy because they know everything about data analysis. Somebody who's an SBL student will have only minimal information, so it is not right, no? So to negate that extra information from that professional who is in that field working, to bring that to create that negating factor, and to help that SBL student to be fairly writing the paper with 100% knowledge, that is why pre-scene has been given. So that you can familiarize with all the important contextual information. Alright, you can better understand about that industry in the coming 2 weeks. You understand the background just like how another person working in the same field would understand. Alright, because many students are writing SBL throughout the globe. If the industry I work in only comes in the paper, I'll always have an upper hand, no? And you're not working in that particular industry, so you will not have an upper hand. So what ACCA has done is to negate that effect. That one student who's working in that same field will have more knowledge, one student who's not will not have that knowledge. So to negate it off, they have introduced pre-scene that we will tell you what are the important words you should know about that industry, and we'll train you as much as someone working in that same industry, so that your level of understanding is exactly same of the person who's working in that industry. That is why pre-scene has been given to us, not for us to guess the questions that will come in the paper. And please trust me, there are lots of people over the internet promising that the questions which they predict only will come in the paper. That's untrue. Nobody can predict what questions will come. Okay, you can definitely have an idea about what are the important areas you have to study and go for your exam. That is correct. Okay, any lecturer all over the globe telling you that these are the important areas you should study for that particular given pre-scene, that's fine. But if you see any kind of information which is circulating on the internet where somebody is promising you that what questions I tell only will come in the exam, that is something you should not rely on. Okay, because there are going to be 3 sets: morning set, afternoon set, and evening set. Right, so you can't predict what questions will come. You can definitely have an idea about what are the important areas you should study thoroughly and go before you enter the exam hall given the pre-scene. Okay, nobody can predict questions, but we can definitely understand the important areas which we have to study thoroughly, and we have to prepare for the next 2 weeks. So that is okay. Nobody will speculate questions. If you're my student, you're not going to sit and speculate which questions will come, because you're wasting your time. Rather, do more question papers, solve more mocks. Okay, fix your time management and everything in the given time. Okay, now I told you already the structure of the pre-scene. There are 2 types of information: industry information and organization information. I'll be teaching this to you live, so you don't have to worry. Okay, this 10-page document or a 12-page document will be divided into 2 parts. What are those 2 parts? Here you have your industry information and organization information. The part 1 of the pre-scene, from say page 1 to maximum page 6, is generally your industry information. Clear? And the next part, that is your organization information, which you can see very clearly over here. That will be from page 7 to maximum page 12 or 14. Each pre-scene on its own pages differ. You can't predict. Okay? Now, what is industry information? I told you. See, the question comes on Indigo Airlines, then it's airline industry. If a question is coming on, say, ITC, then it's a restaurant industry. Right? Or it's a food industry, you can say. The question is coming on Puma, then it is a shoe industry or sports industry. Clear? So this is how you need to understand. Now, are real life going to come? Real life case is going to come? No, it's going to be fictitious case. That is what they are trying to explain. Please read this. Yes, read it. Clear? Next, the organization information. This is nothing but the case in itself. Okay, like I said, Puma or Infosys or Google, same way fictitious cases will come. Okay, now the organization in the pre-scene is fictitious, will not represent the real organization. Okay, you can't expect, see, we can't compare that. Okay, if they've asked something about shoe industry, they're asking about Puma or company only. You can't do that kind of comparison, but you can definitely take inspiration from real life that I will help you with. Okay, firstly, the case is going to be a fake case, that is fictitious case. There is no such company that will exist in the globe. So don't Google and search. Right, if they give you XYZ company, there's no such XYZ company in real life. Okay, it's going to be a fictitious organization. So you will need to spend time becoming very familiar with information given in the pre-scene. You may be doing some research to understand the terminologies better and activities of the industry. Don't do research. I'm sitting here for you. I'll do it. You simply sit and focus on your mocks, study a little more. These are the things you should do. If you're already having a teacher who's sitting and doing the hard work, you can spend time into learning those concepts where you're weak, solving more questions in those areas. Meanwhile, once the pre-scene is out, allow me 2 or 3, 4 days. I will sit and I will crack the whole pre-scene document for you, and I will be telling you what are the terminologies and the meaning behind those terminologies. Every research that is needed for you will be conducted by me, so don't worry on that. You want to do research because you're excited to do, it's a different story altogether. But I don't want you to go overboard. I strictly don't want you to go overboard. Rather, the last 2 weeks are gold. Please use it very, very responsibly. Okay, rather than sitting and googling those words, leave it on me. Attend my pre-scene session. After that, if there are doubts, you can get back to me. After that also you're not happy, then you sit and Google. Okay, that situation won't come, don't worry. Because I would have done my extensive level of research and I would have presented in front of you. So you will not be worried about pre-scene. That is my responsibility. Okay. See, they're telling you very clearly, there is no expectation that students can take up any further research on their pre-scene area. Just what is given, you have to understand it as it is. Remember that SBL is based on fictitious organization, and the tasks, that is exam task, also will relate to this organization specifically. So if you are going to take up any general research, right, there is no need for you to take up any general research independently, is what they say. And whatever research needs to be done, leave it on me. No, I will do it. Yeah. You're sitting in the class. What are you supposed to do? Solve more questions. Prepare the last 2 weeks properly. Meanwhile, my pre-scene analysis will come. I will give you all the sessions, right? In that sessions, you will understand much more, right? You will understand everything you need to know about that subject. Post that, if there are doubts, you'll get in touch with me. After that, if you have 1 or 2 days extra, you do your research for your own satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no need for you to do any extensive research. Okay, I'm been repeating again and again, and I'm telling you, pre-scene material will be given in your live exam in the form of soft copy. Please remember not to take a hard copy. They will not allow that in the exam, because we'll make write so many things and you'll think that you're allowed to take that paper inside the exam hall. No, a copy of pre-scene will be available in your exam portal itself for your reference. You can, if whatever information you want about pre-scene will be available in the portal, copy paste it from there. Don't take hard copy. It is not allowed. All right. Now there are some students who I know will read the pre-scene on the last day, or they will not even touch the pre-scene before exam. They'll simply go inside the exam hall and then they will read it. Now that is a deadlock. You don't want to do something like that. There are few set of students who will do extra research, study so much about the topic, and there are other sets of students who will not at all touch the pre-scene. I don't want both of this. I don't want both of this. I want you to bring down it into an average. Relax, breathe, listen to the pre-scene analysis, understand what I am trying to explain you in the class itself. Post that. If you want to conduct extra research, take my permission. I will tell you that these things you don't have to conduct research for. These things, if you're bad at and you feel like you want to become better at it, fine, study. Please take guidance from me personally before you do any such extra work. Because I know that your time is so important when 2 weeks are there for the exam, which you can better utilize in a different place. So I'll be able to guide you and tell you Okay, I'm telling you all this because these are the major mistakes made by students 2 weeks before exam. They spoil the entire paper. Please, and I cannot ignore the fact and not tell you that SBL exam is one of the costliest exams, especially for Indians, right? We have to spend in pounds. It's not something that is easily available, right? It's not something that you want to risk when you're spending so much money on that exam. You want to use every minute before the exam very, very wisely. Okay, so please, if there are any doubts, if you are a little overwhelmed with your preparation, keep in touch with me. Tell me that this is our situation, and I'll be able to help you out and guide you. No? This is what I've been doing from years now. I've been teaching SBL since 2019 when it was not even a big subject in India back then. Nobody even knew this ACCA. So from 2019, if I've come this far, I don't think I should be the right person to guide you. Right? I've seen the changes, I've seen the history, I know exactly what students make mistakes with and where they shouldn't make mistakes. So please take guidance from me. With whatever troubles you have, get in touch. Okay, get in touch with the team, get in touch with me. We'll be here to help you. Okay, then let's understand the next part. What are you not going to do with the pre-scene? You will not conduct any extensive additional research in the industry. You will not speculate areas of the syllabus. Basically, you will not look at the pre-scene and say this question will come, that question will come. It's not your job to do that. Okay, I will tell you what are the very, very important areas you should not skip. But we don't speculate questions that this question will come, that question will come. Avoid using pre-scene as a main source of material. There are students, no, once the pre-scene is out, 2 weeks, they only sit and study pre-scene. They forget that SBL book is there, or they have to study those notes. They're only sticking and mastering those 14 pages. It's not going to take you anywhere. Even examiners telling you, avoid using pre-scene as a main source of material. Because what's going to happen in exam, they will give you extra information in the form of exhibit, right? That exhibit is also equally important for you to write your paper. Avoid reading the pre-scene for the first time just before exam. This I already told you. Avoid spending too much time on the pre-scene at the expense of revising areas of the syllabus. See, again, they are also telling you that don't become so obsessed over the pre-scene that you forget that you're writing an SBL exam. So you have to study those concepts, study those 40-45 models properly, do more questions. Okay, students become so obsessed with the pre-scene that they forget that no, at the end of the day, I'm writing SBL paper. My concepts should be good. I should be able to do time management. I should be able to type more answers. I should write more mocks. Focus your energy in that area further. And avoid question tipping and spotting. Don't sit and check which questions can come. Oh, I'll prepare the entire paper keeping in mind these questions will come in the exam. Okay, students, do it. That's something you're not supposed to do. Clear? I wanted to read this. Yes. If there are doubts, please put it on the chat box. I'll be happy to help you. Yes. Let's understand the next part then. Okay. Effective reading and planning. See, what you need to understand is you need to do the right kind of time management is what I'm going to teach you now. Okay. There are times, no, students simply think that to expand the answer, let me copy paste the information as it is. They will give me marks. It's a professional paper. You think they will do that? Okay, there are smart students. I copied one entire para from pre-scene, one para from the exhibit, and then I wrote my own analysis for 2 or 3 lines, and now I'll pass. No, definitely it's a failure. See, there are students who don't understand that they are not foolish people to give you marks like that. Okay, some people to expand some answers, no, they will simply copy paste some information that is there in the question itself and paste it here. You can do it as long as you are doing it with an intention to give your own explanation and add your own analysis to that para. If you know that 2 or 3 lines should be copy pasted from the exhibit or 2 or 3 lines should be copy pasted from the pre-scene, copy paste it, fine. But then it should be accompanied with your own analysis of a para or two. Then only you copy pasting that information will make sense. You're simply copy pasting the information to make your answer look big. examiner will understand that. That's what they're saying here. Simply copy pasting approach is only going to be effective if students remember to add value to that copy text. If you're simply going to copy paste it without adding your own value to that answer, they will cancel that para out in your answer. Okay, and they will assume that you didn't try that. So don't waste your time. Okay, you have to be smart, but you also have to be practical. Smartness is in copy pasting few sentences that are given in the pre-scene. Smartness is also about copy pasting few information that is given in the exhibit. But if you don't add value to that copy pasted content, add your own analysis, add more practicality to the copy paste sentence, then you just wasted your time. Okay. Another thing I wanted to understand is about time management. Okay, so please understand over here, good time management during SBL exam starts with an effective approach to the pre-scene information. Time in the exam will be saved if students have assimilated and understood the pre-scene information. See, whenever you attend my pre-scene analysis, we will be discussing the pre-scene so extensively that you will know at each and every corner of the paper what sentence is written, how to correlate between those sentences, what is extra analysis you can add. So don't worry on that area, it's my job. Okay, you will be saving a lot of time like this. Okay, so I want to ensure that you guys are sitting in the exam with an exact idea of knowing what information is available where in the pre-scene. You're not going to sit there and scroll down and scroll up and search, where was this sentence? I'm not able to find it now. No, you will exactly know in which sentence, which para, what can be used where. To that level, we will study so that your time gets saved in the paper. All right. Remember that exam should not be, remember the exam time should not be wasted trying to understand the information from pre-scene. You should be so good at pre-scene that you don't waste your time questioning yourself, what was this, what is the meaning of this area in the pre-scene? Ma'am had discussed, but I forgot. That situation should not come. That is what they are telling. The pre-scene should provide context when answering the task, but much of the information needed to develop the answers is in the exhibit C. They'll give you some extra information inside the exam hall, I told you, in the form of exhibit. Generally, the ratio is 80% of information we take from exhibit, 20% of information we take from the pre-scene. Blend it and then write our answer. Okay, so pre-scene importance in your exam, real exam, is hardly 20%. What students do is, once the pre-scene is out, once the case is out, they are like, no, I will write every answer keeping only pre-scene in mind. But they've given you extra information. You can't ignore that, no, to be able to answer. And trust me, without that extra information, you can't even start your answer. That extra information that is given to you in the exam hall in the form of exhibit is so important that you can't even start your answer without having read it. Okay, so importance of pre-scene is hardly 20% in the exam. The actual exam is going to be on that very same day with that extra information, with the help of which you will be writing your paper. That is what they are trying to say. Clear? Yes. Next is about your time management. See, very simple, very logical, very easy. We have 3 hours and 15 minutes of paper. So let's convert it into 195 minutes, right? Multiply this to 60 minutes. It's going to be how many minutes? 195 minutes. How much mark paper is it? 100 mark paper. So for each mark, you will spend only 1.95 minutes, approximately maximum 2 minutes for 1 mark. Okay, say there was a question of 34 marks. If a question comes for 34 marks, how much time will you spend? 1.95 minutes per mark. So total how many minutes you will spend? 66 minutes. If one question is for 34 marks, say task 1 is for 34 marks, you will complete the task 1, answering the entire task 1 within 66 minutes. You will spend 1/4 of the time in reading and 3/4 of your time in writing the answer. This is how you're going to, proportionately, you will divide your time. Okay, because see, you have to read that extra exhibit information. You need time to read all that. Keep 16 minutes for that. Keep the balancing, that is 16 minutes, that's 1/4 of time into reading, and other 50 minutes should be invested into writing the answer. This is how we're going to manage your time. Clear? So only formula is multiply it into 1.95. Whatever marks questions come, multiply it to 1.95. Within that much time, you should be done with reading plus writing. Generally, we spend one fourth of the time into reading and 3/4 of the time into writing the paper. This is how it's been an average way of working your answers out. This is what we've been training for students. Even for rank holders, this approach has worked. Okay, even for average student, this approach has been a very good approach to work. If you're able to complete your paper in lesser time, great, but you will not cross this time. Okay, you're going to go to the next question if you're not able to complete your answer. Okay, this is how we have answered every professional paper. Clear? Right? So say the question is about Zealand health, and there's a first question that has come. So please understand over here. This first question is for 34 marks. Same thing, what I taught you. Say this first question is for 34 marks. Right? So 16 minutes of your marks, 16 minutes of your life will go into reading, and the balance 50 minutes will go into answering the entire task. Okay, the same thing has been explained over here. Clear? This is how your time management will work for SBL. Yes, perfect. If there are doubts, please put it on the chat box. I'll be happy to help. There is a link over here which I've pasted for technical articles. Now, what are exactly these technical articles? See, generally this has a 5 marks weightage in the entire SBL paper. Okay, what are these articles? See, for those students who never studied BT, Business and Technology, right? You need to update yourself with all those things that were taught in BT level. Where will you update yourself? When you read these technical articles, you will know it. Okay, there's a link I've given over here. Please understand. Right now, you don't have to jump into understanding this entire technical article. As and when the chapters get over, I'll be guiding and telling you that now you can read these technical articles. The link is made available. I just simply wanted to copy paste this on Google. You will get the technical articles. Each syllabus area has its own technical article. This is something for you to read for extra information so that you can write extra good content in your answer paper. I'll be teaching you what is relevant for your exams. But technical articles are something the ACCA expects students to simply read to improve the knowledge of the student. Alright, so this is all about a technical article. Generally, it is said that around 5 marks worth of question do come from technical article. How many technical articles are there in SBL? Approximately 18 to 20. Okay, so as and when each chapter gets over, there is technical article related to that chapter, which ACCA expects students to simply read for information, for content, for better understanding. Alright, so that is what technical article is. I have sent you the link over here. Simply copy paste on Google. Ma'am, I want to understand professional skills also in a better way. I will teach you, but say you also want to do some research on professional skills. There is this particular link you will copy paste on Google. Okay. This link will redirect you to ACCA website, professional skills. It exactly what professional skills are. There are 5 professional skills. I have given you an idea, but I want you to become better at it. So there are certain videos available from ACCA, which I want you to watch. You will click this link, you will find the videos, you'll find the information, all of it there. Clear? No doubts. This is all you need to know about your SBL exam. This is all you need to know. All right? Yes. I've pretty much covered everything you need to understand about your examination. In spite of that, you might have few doubts. Please feel free to put it on the chat box. I'll be happy to help you. Okay? Clear? We took enough time to understand how exactly the SBL paper looks like. I have not shown you a single question paper. I have not shown you how a pre-scene looks like. The reason being, we're practicing all that in the class. So you don't have to sit and read it right now. What I wanted you to do is familiarize yourself with the subject in first place. Okay, I want you to be good at the subject first. Understand what expectation examiner has. What are these professional skills? What is this technical article? What is technical marks? How is the entire paper divided into 80:20 ratio? What is this pre-scene? When does it come? Right? How much of pre-scene should I study properly? Right? So these things I wanted you to clarify. Okay, regarding the pre-scene, don't worry, we will conduct a pre-scene analysis session where every line of that pre-scene document will be cracked by me when you're sitting live on the other side and you'll be asking me doubts. So to become more and more better at the pre-scene document. So don't worry on that, okay? It's not a big deal at all. We've been doing this since 2023, since the time pre-scene has started. Pre-scene started in September 2023. Each and every document I've cracked. So it's not a very big deal for us. We'll be able to help you out there. So don't worry, don't panic. Today was only about enlightenment of the subject. It was all about that. And I want you to acknowledge it, not get worried. It's nothing for you to worry. All right. I managed to put 3 or 4 hours of information in proper 1.5 hour time, giving you the most important things given in the given slides. All right. The reason being, you don't need to go beyond this to understand the subject better. You just have to jump into the ocean and learn to swim now. Okay. That's how it works. You have to study SBL with a faculty who's been teaching SBL in the right way. Okay. Some things like driving and swimming, you can't learn on YouTube alone. You have to sit live with this faculty, right? You have to go for the coaching. You have to understand that entire thing in the right way. All right. So we'll do it that way. If there are any doubts, feel free to put it on the chat box. I'll be happy to help you. Right. Here we come to the end of this orientation session. I'll be seeing you in the coming live classes, which we will have every Saturday. So you will be meeting me every other Saturday. Right? And I'll stay in touch with you. If there are any doubts, feel free to get in touch with me. Feel free to get in touch with the team. And we will be more than happy to guide you and help you out. Yes. On that note, let's call it a day. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope the session was productive and informative. With this note, I request you all to attend more and more such live sessions. Okay, on this note. If there's anything you want, feel free to inform. It's my duty to get it done. Okay, and stay relaxed. Enjoy the ACCA journey rather than taking stress. Okay, especially for a paper like SBL. Leave the stress to me. You just simply sit and focus on the concepts, classes, notes, revision, mocks, etc. That is your work. Apart from that, every other stress, you please put it on me. It's my job to take care of it. On this note, I leave you here. Let's call it a day. I will see you in the next class. Thank you very much.